Good evening. Welcome to Twilight at the Soggy Bog. It's actually technically not quite twilight yet. We're getting there. This is Mr. Soggy Bog, Soggy Boggy Witch, Mr. Soggy Boggy Witch, my best friend in the whole world. Tonight, I will be telling you the tale of a Salem witch trial ancestor while we work on making a couple of new raised beds for this second backyard garden that we are in the middle of building. So that's what we will be doing while we tell you this story. And so there will be some interruptions, but it'll all be good. So let's start off by telling you who it is we'll be talking about tonight, and that is Mr. Corey Giles. Have you heard of him? If you have, comment below, and if it sounds familiar, comment below who you think he was and what happened to him. And if you know, don't say anything yet. Wait till the end of the video. I mean, it doesn't matter. People can put it whatever the hell they want. It genuinely doesn't matter because we're not actually live. But I am going to pause right now for a second so that we can go over the instructions so that we know what we're doing, and then I will continue from there.
Okay. So what's going to be the best method of approach? It looks pretty self-explanatory. It looks pretty easy. So which screws doesn't matter. You want to do a flat piece or a curved piece? Let's do a curved piece to a flat piece. Okay. Excuse you. Abby, how did you get in there? I know how to get in there. I'm just looking through the thing. I can't even open it so I can adjust the fence that's falling in. There's just another way.
Oh, Michael.
Oh, hey.
That's why I'm the boss. Okay.
Crack the code.
Yeah. Have fun. So Giles Corey was born in August of 1611 in Northampton, England, which I have been to. And that makes logical sense that he was a Virgo because both of the abusive assholes in my life were both Virgos. We'll get there. He was married 3 different times before he came to the Americas, to a Margaret, a Mary, and a Martha. They were very creative with names back then. And he had 5 kids. He had 4 with his first wife, Margaret, 4 daughters. And he had 1 son with his second wife, Mary. He and Martha never had any children. If Martha Giles sounds familiar, share this video right now and then come back. So, in the 1640s, Giles Corey took the modest fortune, almost fortune he had amassed in England. Remember, it was still called England. There was no UK yet. It was England. Where was I? He came over to the Americas in the 1640s. We don't know exactly when. We just know from records that he was here by, I believe they said 1646. I was looking at. Oh no. Dorothy's like, I want to be in the show. There are recordings of him because Giles Corey.
You want to do a straight piece or curved piece?
Yeah, straight piece. Giles Corey was not a great guy. Giles Corey is in criminal records for Salem Village multiple times for theft, primarily for theft. He really, really, really liked to steal from other farmers and from other people in general. He would get fines, and that was that. Thank you, ladies. Oh my gosh. They're looking at themselves. I'm just going to pause for a second because this is great. This is highly entertaining. Peggy, do you see yourself? Who is that pretty chicken? But yeah, one of the nice things about Salem and what happened there being so well known, people saved records like crazy. So we have a lot of records from the court and from jail from the magistrates, things like that, that he was stealing shit all the time. He once stole an entire cart of farm supplies from somebody. Which, you know, he's hurting people. I know how we all feel about colonizers, don't get me wrong. He's hurting women and kids who had no choice but to be there. He's hurting indentured servants and slaves who really had... the indentured servants had a choice, but some of them, most of them. But he himself had a lot of indentured servants. Okay, let's tighten this one with the screwdriver. And slaves. So that's why it pisses me off. He was hurting people who did not make the choice to be there and colonize and kill natives and own slaves, own human beings. That's why it pisses me off so bad. But the worst part of it is he actually was a wealthy landowner. By the time the Salem witch trials came around, he was very well known as a absolute curmudgeon. He was known to be extremely violent, and of course a thief. And why he never really faced any jail time is beyond me. He was very well known for beating an indentured servant to death because the laws there allowed capital punishment for slaves. They determined, even though indentured servants weren't slaves, well, okay, let me back up.
I kept getting mixed up with my words, and it was really bad. So here's some narration. Basically, they originally charged him with murder, and then they decided that it's actually okay to beat your servants and slaves to death. So they just charged it with battery, the equivalent of battery, because it was just so incredibly brutal. That was what he got punished for, how brutal it was, not the fact that somebody was dead. So he paid a fine, and that was it.
On March 19th, 1692, Martha Giles was arrested and accused of witchcraft. When she was arrested, Giles Corey believed that she had to be a witch. He was totally into the witch trials. There it goes again. It's doing that weird flashing. And I can't make it go away when it starts doing that. He was totally big time into it. And I'm sorry about the flashing right now. My camera just randomly does this sometimes. I have no idea why. Oh. So yeah, he believed it. He's like, oh, well, these other women who we've killed are witches and evil and horrible because they do things like smile, wear their hair down, show their ankle, I don't know.
Have opinions.
Not get married and have babies. So he was totally into it. Then on April 18th, 1692, Giles Corey was arrested and accused of witchcraft.
Wah, wah.
And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, well, I'm not a witch. You got the wrong guy. How could they do this to me? He thought he was the only one who was innocent. Cognitive dissonance. So he was put on trial, and you may have heard about this case before. He refused to admit to anything. He refused to make a plea. And with the law that they had in those days, if you did not enter a plea of any kind, even if you were convicted, your property did not get surrendered to the state, which in this case would be, there was no state really. It would be given to Salem's lot. If you know, you know. It would not go to Salem Village. I can't remember. He might have been living in Salem town at this time. He did move at one point, I'm not sure. But because he refused to make a plea, All his properties stayed in the family. So those 4 daughters with his first wife, Margaret, and his son with his second wife, Mary, they were still entitled to inherit his fortune. Unfortunately, yeah, that included
Can you put
slaves.
this one on?
However, the sheriff in town, so to speak, the constable, was pissed about this because he and the town council were talking about, oh, we're going to split it up. We're going to split that fortune. We're going to split that farm. Instead, he went to visit the family members left and basically extorted them. He forced them to hand over thousands of pounds in order to keep the property. But that's something else entirely. Giles Corey died 3 days after his wife Martha was hanged, and he was the only person to go through this. You've probably heard it before. He was pressed to death by rocks. If you haven't heard of that, consider yourself lucky. But I'm going to tell you about it right now. Basically, they put him on a board out in the middle of a field. Not really in the middle of a field, like outside of some of the town buildings. Put him on the board, put another board on top of him, and then started slowly putting super heavy-duty rocks on it. And he was known to be a pretty tough dude, and, you know, he wanted to be like, I am tougher and better than you. That one's done. So,
Last one.
as it started to hurt, he would say, more weight. Actually, let me tell you something. I don't think, although all the history books like to tell you that it was because he was so tough. I think it's because he was a fucking coward and wanted to be killed a lot faster. Because men who beat indentured servants, beat their slaves, beat their wives, believe that women are witches just for being different. A man like that is a coward. And so I think that's a story we can take away, is that the colonizers were pieces of trash, and a lot of them were really big cowards. So that is the story of my Salem witch ancestor.
So, which wife are you a descendant of?
I that's a good question. I don't remember, because it is a direct line of descent, and I want to say I'm like 99% sure it is one of the daughters that he had with his first wife, Margaret. I just don't remember for sure. It's been a long time since I saw the genealogy, and since I'm not speaking to my mother anymore, I'm not going to be able to go find it. So I don't know. I'm not positive, but I am really, really pretty sure that it's one of the daughters. So that was a good question. Now that it's actually coming on Twilight, I should have told the story second, but now that I've told this story, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, who I am, what the Soggy Bog is about, because I did promise to do that. So,
Sorry. Oh, you take the wing nut, I'll take the screw. Or that.
I was born in Utah in 1979, but I was raised in Indiana and Ohio for, well, not like my entire childhood, but for a good chunk of my childhood. The oldest of 7 kids. I don't speak to anyone in my family anymore. I don't really care to talk about why, but I have my reasons, and they are valid reasons. I got married my first time around in 2001 and had a baby in 2002, and then another baby in 2004, and then my then husband went and joined the National Guard and went to Iraq in 2005. So I have been through the military wife deployment stuff. He came home with severe PTSD and a huge violent chip on his shoulder, which is why we're not married anymore, not because he had PTSD. I want to make that very clear. Don't come for me. It was not because of the PTSD. It was because he wasn't doing anything about it and he tried to kill me. So along the way of healing, this dude here, who was one of my friends at the time, and I feel madly in love. Woo! Look! I think we got a storm coming.
I think so too.
Yeah! I hope these mics work well against this wind. We got married in December of 2012. So, coming up on 14 years now. When we got married, Mr. Soggy Boggy Witch was in college, and I decided that I wanted to go back to school myself. I had already tried a couple of times, and it just hadn't worked out for me. But because he was still in school, I just really wanted to take a couple classes with him, because I had never had a chance, in the couple times I had tried college before, I'd never had a chance to go to class with somebody I knew. And I thought it'd be really fun. So, somebody I already knew. So, I signed up for a class. And that class became a bachelor's degree in anthropology with an associate's in religious studies. I need the screwdriver. I'm not gonna be able to get it. Well, I probably won't. I should be okay. Yeah. Started grad school. Started teaching as an adjunct in English composition. I had been teaching as technically an assistant instructor in the anthropology department for a colleague of mine, but he had leukemia, so I ended up doing everything. And because of that, and because I won honors thesis of the year award that I did as part of my honors program, which is how I went to the UK for a semester abroad. I also worked at the writing center at the same time as their behavioral science writing fellow. So I got hired on as an adjunct in basic English composition and literacy. And it was the greatest job I ever had in my entire life. It was magical to teach students how to use their own voices and their own experiences to direct their rhetoric, but also how to read and understand rhetoric, social media, critical thinking and reasoning, stuff like that. So, COVID came along. And first, I got kicked out of the department because, at first, for one semester, simply because there weren't enough students enrolling. But then while I was gone, they changed the rule that you had to already have a master's degree to teach, and I wasn't done with mine yet. And right at that exact same time, I got COVID really, really bad.
Everybody,
And
this is going to take a couple minutes. Be patient. It hurts to breathe. So, a couple of you have heard now. I have COVID. Started getting sick last week. And the worse it got, the more I thought maybe it was bronchitis, because I've had that a lot, although I wasn't coughing that much.
And I developed long COVID, and it destroyed my life. It completely has destroyed my life. I can't work anymore. I garden, but it's difficult. Even with, I have a ton of help, and it's very difficult. Every day is difficult. I had to quit grad school. But I am working right now finally on getting disability with an attorney. So if I get it, I am going to see if I am ready. I'm going to try one. I'm going to go back to my master's program, and I'm going to take just one class to see if I'm ready yet to come back. Because when I tried that before, when it was still really, really, really bad with my brain stuff, I failed. And I have never in my life failed a college class. So anyway, the Soggy Bog is my way of contributing still. I am really, really, really focused on growing food. I think it's really, really important to feed my community, but also, since I can't make money, to help my family save money, which it sounds funny because I know we've spent a lot of money just to get this all prepared and set up and everything over the years. But we have, like, last year we hit a really, really bad snag where there just was no paycheck for one paycheck period, and we were able to use the food from the garden that I had preserved and the food that we get from a farmer's co-op every 2 or 3 months. We get a huge box of meat at an amazing price, and we were fine. And it was a huge weight off our shoulders. Huge. We didn't have to worry about how we were going to eat through all that. So
I bet Corey wished he had a weight off his shoulders.
hi, Miss Ma'am. How we doing, Annie?
Much better.
Yeah, you're looking great. She had an owie on her beak, on her comb the other day, but it's looking a lot better. Yeah. You gonna tell us some witchy stories next time? So yes, a little bit more about me. I am queer as fuck. I use she, they pronouns. Please don't use just one or the other. I like both. I go by Danny most of the time. You can call me Soggy Boggy Witch if you want. I don't really care. I don't know you in real life. It doesn't really affect me in any way. I am a raging socialist, but I am an actual Marx and Engels socialist who believes that the people doing the work should own the work, the company, the corporation, the materials, and should be able to afford to purchase whatever it is they are making. They need to be paid a fair wage, and other people need to be paid in such a way that they can get those things too. And when they cannot work to make those types of wages and own the materials, own the shares in the company, you know, everybody owns a portion, then they still deserve to eat, and they still deserve health care, and they still deserve a home. That's where the government part with taxes kicks in. That's it. It doesn't mean the government owns everything. It doesn't mean the government tells you what jobs you can do. It doesn't mean the government tells people exactly how much money they're allowed to make. It doesn't mean the government comes and takes your stuff. That's ridiculous. We just want you to be able to eat and have health care without going into medical debt and without having to live off nothing but ramen and hot dogs. So that's me. I don't think there's really anything else for tonight, so we're gonna go ahead and finish these up before it gets dark. And well, maybe I am, I don't know. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you have enjoyed this little snippet of my ancestry. We will come back next Wednesday with another tale of some sort of witch from either history or mythology. And Saturday we will go after dark. This week will be a little bit different. We will not be live. Next week, Saturdays after dark, we will be live. So thank you for joining us, and beware the witching hour.